We are live.
Hello.
From the Palace, well, wish we were a palace, at the Smith household.
Wish it was a palace as well. Maybe one day.
Maybe one day. How's everyone doing? Thank you for joining us. If you are first to say, there we go. 129 gets it. Throw a boomer in the chat if you're watching. And how's your day been? Been a long one.
It's fine. I have a really bad cough, so I'm going to be coughing probably a lot in the mic. And on top of that, I feel like I'm hoarse because I've been coughing for so many days. I don't feel sick. It's just I keep coughing.
Do you have to cure a cough? You know what Mac Kelly would tell you to do?
Oh, sip of codeine because I got a gilla cough.
Yep. Some news broke in Oklahoma football today. First off, let's not skip the intro. Do you want to do it this time? You're better at it than I am, I feel like.
I was about to say, we're not even going to introduce ourselves.
Yep.
So I am Tyranny.
I'm Chad.
And we are the voice of college football Oklahoma. We are here every Monday at 7 o'clock Central Time live. Of course, you can always check out any of our recordings anytime you want. But we are here every Monday at 7. During the season, we will do an extra show as a post game. And we're looking at maybe adding an additional call-in show. But that's still in the future because we still have to get the hang of the schedule.
Right.
But if you are joining us, rejoining us, thank you for coming back. If you are new, welcome.
Yeah.
We'll get a live chat going on. It's a little small community we're building, so we hope to just add you to it.
Yep. And if we have a chat going on, we try to get to all of them. The only way to guarantee we do. You can do a super chat if you want. Don't feel obligated though. We try to get to a few, but it helps the channel out. Throw a like if you can, and then make sure to comment down in the comments.
Yeah, comment in the comments, like the video, subscribe to the channel.
Yep, that helps us. And
you don't have to do that in that order though.
Yeah, you don't. You can do it. We're not that demanding. We're not. We could be, I guess, but nowhere.
My name is Tyranny, so.
Yeah, true.
Anything could happen.
Yeah, it'd be fitting. All right, well, I guess let's start with the Sooner news. We got a few topics we want to talk about today. Really. I'm gonna just turn that way though, so that Mac doesn't catch it. Like turn and then lean. Yeah, over there. There we go.
Lean.
Kevin Wilson hired as an analyst for the University of Oklahoma football team. We have some revenue information that came out. Eric Bailey at the Oklahoma got information on buyouts for Porter Moser and for what it would be for BV and whatnot. But there are some interesting tidbits, I think, that feed into NIL talk and discussions, and that also kind of, I think, show an added layer of the thinking behind some of the moves that I think we're expected to see and not going to see. And then you have, obviously, the softball, some basketball updates, just a fun...
Some softball, some basketball, some gymnastics.
A great time to be a basketball fan at OU.
Yeah.
A men's basketball fan, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but I had to get that frustration out, and I leaned away from the mic.
We'll get there.
True.
We'll get there.
True. All right, well, let's start off with... Is there anything else? Do you need to go get a cough drop?
No, because this doesn't help. I've been eating them all day.
Okay. Do I need to do it solo?
That's rude.
What? I mean,
you're already trying to fly solo. Okay, cool.
Oh, does someone clip this and make it go like there's Discord?
Oh, there's enough drama on the Sooner.
Oh, dude, yeah. By the way, we could just dive into that. I guess if we wanted rating, we could just start just dive into the insider stuff.
Yeah, we'll start picking fights with random people.
No, I mean like we just report on it. We'll be like the T with T. T, that could be you.
Yeah, okay.
You know?
I don't care enough.
It's fantastic.
It's not my monkeys, not my circus.
That's awesome. All right, well, Oklahoma is bringing back a familiar face in one Kevin Wilson, who was, a lot of people remember, was here from 2000 to 2010, was the Sooners co-offensive coordinator and offensive line coach from 2005 to 2002 to 2005, then was from 2006 to 2010 the offensive coordinator, and helped probably coach the best offense Oklahoma's had. Averaged, yes.
Loud.
We're really going to have to do something about the coughing.
I move it away.
I know you're fine, but
wow.
averaged. Kevin Wilson's team averaged 51 points a game.
A few.
51 points a game. It's, for my money, the best offense Oklahoma's ever had, and I think about every single statistic would bear that out. They scored 60 in the last 5 games. They averaged 50. They scored more than 50 in 9 games that year. I'll never forget they were up 21-0 on Baylor with 12 minutes left in the first quarter.
That's fun. That sounds actually
21-0 with 12 minutes left in the first quarter.
We're not going to lie, that sounds like a game we had this year, but it was the opposite.
Yeah, but that wasn't due to our offense scoring or Missouri's Baylor's offense scoring for them. But
it was our offense scoring against us.
Our Baylor's offense did not give us 21 points. That was just how good we were on offense. Obviously, that year, Kevin Wilson had the GOAT. The GOAT! Sam Bradford. 4,720 yards, 50 touchdowns, and a Heisman Trophy. And then a statue to follow east of Memorial Field.
Yeah.
He was then Kevin Wilson. Just more back, kind of his history. He went to Indiana from 2011, 2016, and they had the number 2 offense in total yards in the Big Ten that year. And then in 2015, they had they led the conference in yards as well. Then went to Ohio State as a co-offensive coordinator. Where he was from 2017 to 2022. He was there with Urban Meyer and Ryan Day.
My brother's favorite coach, Urban.
Urban Meyer. Yep. They averaged more than 40 a game whenever he was there, and then he obviously goes to Tulsa, where he was the head coach there, and then he was. Some people rumored he was going to be he was in the rumor mill, I should say, for offensive coordinator position when it was opened up.
I thought I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of weird to go. Why did he go back to Tulsa?
I think it was a head coaching job. Yeah.
Get home. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Ready to kind of move.
That seems kind of okay.
Yeah, and it's probably a guy that doesn't want. He may not want to do the full gig of going out to recruit and doing all the coaching, but he just wants to be around still, and he has a lot of knowledge. He wants to dish out, so he has a chance to really do that with Oklahoma. And what I think is really cool about this hire is he's able to help in not just the offense obviously, but in multiple spots. Former offensive line coach, he knows that Beanball knows him. They know each other too. I was reading whether or not it's true, I don't know, but through coaching clinics, things they've talked a lot together. He has the experience to really lend an eye whenever they're doing analyst work, watching film, getting the script ready for practice that next week, and also just confidence. Arbuckle knows he has a guy he can go talk to that's one of the best to ever do it. A guy that's done it at Oklahoma before on a national scale, like he was whenever they were successful as they were in 2008, and was hugely successful. So just being able to add that experience to it, being able to add a guy that is seriously one of the best that's done it and had sustained success no matter where he's been, is just huge for Oklahoma.
Absolutely. Funny enough, but right before we came on, I saw that Bob Stoops was talking to the ref, and he mentioned it's just a great asset. It's obviously good for so my goodness, it's obviously good for Oklahoma, but he'd be good anywhere. So the fact that we were able to re-get him, have him return, that he was willing to return and offer his expertise, so to say, that's huge for us, especially with how much we were lacking on offense last year. So we got a pretty dang good offensive coordinator start. Now we have, again, people were worried about Ben Arbuckle's experience being so young. And so now you have this, what you think is going to be a prodigy, however you say it. Either's fine. Probably right.
Prodigy, anyways,
at the offensive coordinator spot, but then you add in that extra layer of wisdom that really goes with it. So it's exciting. Hope it works out.
And in your defense, if anyone's ever had a cough before, you know how just annoying it can be. So I will say you got your father-in-law's cough. It's not a silent one.
I got my father-in-law?
You got my father-in-law's cough.
Oh.
So your dad, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It's fine.
Who has a silent cough?
There you go.
No, that's not a cough.
I saw that on, what was that off of? What movie did she do that on? She was like, am I just imagining this? Is it on a...
Oh, no, Mean Girls.
Yeah, that's what I always see. Yep. So just a huge addition. And I think with bringing people in like this, when you have a new offensive coordinator, but also the amount of new players Oklahoma has, for them to have more coaches to go talk to.
Right.
That they know they can go to and get good advice from people that they can trust. It's only going to help and only going to, I think, progress the offense more efficiently and more quickly now that you have a guy like Kevin Wilson there. And,
My brain just keeps going to Kevin James.
No. Oh, yeah.
actor, and I don't know why that keeps popping. It's like Kevin James and Owen Wilson keeps popping in my head every time I hear this
That's
name
hilarious.
for no reason.
That's hilarious. I guess they were going to try to get J.P. Losman. He went to Washington, so opened up a spot. Or I mean, they lost J.P. Losman, I guess, but to Washington. So that's why Wilson was able to come in. I think it's fantastic. But
has he been working this whole time, or did
he was
retire?
at Tulsa last year, 2 years ago.
So he has been at Tulsa. Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. No, he wasn't there last year. He was there in 2020. I just read it. I can't. 2022, I believe he got there. And then he was at the potential option offensive coordinator search. Yeah, so he was at Tulsa for 2 years. Yep, got there in 2022. So the last 2 years. But with that coming in, he is going to be able to add a lot of just again good knowledge to the offense, and
I think what's great too is he worked with a Heisman candidate. So I feel like that, or like not candidate, winner. So that I don't know. I feel like. So we talked about some of our coaches being young, so they relate to the players from like a young aspect. They still kind of get that. Where you can go to someone like, Kevin James. Oh, that's in my head.
That's fine.
Kevin Wilson. And you're like, wow, like he worked with literally one of the greatest players of all time. I want to learn from him, or like, I really want to hear what he has to say. Because sometimes if you have a young coach, maybe you don't always show them the respect that you would maybe a senior coach.
Yeah, right.
Just because like they feel more like a brother, more than like a dad. I don't know, because I don't like. They feel like a big brother. Maybe you're not going to be as.
That's true.
I don't want to say call them disrespectful, but you get what I'm saying.
No.
Versus older man, lots of wisdoms, work with some of the greats. You're like, wow, like let me just go to him and run to him and like really take what he has to say more seriously. I don't know, and I'm again like that's not. People are going to sit there and say, like, what, you're saying they're not going to take Ben Arkbuckle's word seriously? No, not necessarily. That's not what I mean at all. I'm just saying,
people are going to think you're saying just crazy.
Yeah, it's just more like the experience just to back it up on top of that. So, it's all the cough drops today, I guess.
No, you're fine. You're fine. And we need to know. I mean, we need to know your thoughts. I'm trying to find a couple of these clips I have so we can talk about a little bit about. So today, Eric Bailey got a FOIA request for the revenue and all of that coming to. Oh, wait, before we move on to the revenue stuff, that's still football related. Mark Henry's son, one of the great wrestlers of all time.
I thought you would be excited for that.
oh, he's awesome. I remember his kind of call. Sorry if I was loud, by the way. I think I had my mic turned up too much accidentally. One of my favorite things I ever saw or would ever hear is he could bench like 500 pounds, which I thought as a kid was impossible. So obviously a lot of people can do that, but a lot.
A lot?
At the elite level of strength, I was like, that's insane.
Gotcha.
So he really, in 2011, he almost stopped wrestling. Had a fighting at Sicario, never forget, and it was supposed to be some big fight. And Sicario never comes out. It ended up being just a big joke on Mark Henry for whatever reason. Ends up getting really mad, but he didn't know his fight was going to be fake. Like, well, double meaning there really, but he didn't know his fight wasn't actually scheduled. So he goes out to the ring ready. McMahon doesn't even have a fight for him. It's like a BS thing. So he feels disrespected. Like, dude, don't send me out there to the ring and make me look like a fool in front of the crowd and stuff. He starts erupting, like gets angry, starts breaking things, and then he goes through this whole Hulk phase and ends up becoming he get world heavyweight champion through that. So,
WWE.
Yeah, WWE. Yep. Used to be WWF, but they had that they had a trademark issue, I think, with the world something worldwide food or something.
World Wildlife Federation.
I can't remember. They had a World Wrestling Entertainment, but he also invented a move which is rare in wrestling. Usually everything has been done before, but he had this big, the mark. He was the first one to really kind of pick guys up when they were on the ground. He could like carry them and then stand up and then he would slam them. And then you saw Brock Lesnar, Batista.
It wasn't acted.
Why? I mean, some of the stuff is just he's that strong. He's a really strong dude.
You got to perform your own stunts.
Yeah. He's a really strong dude.
As you can tell, I did not watch WWE.
Yeah, she's not a believer. She always has to say things are fake. She doesn't believe in it. She thinks Dragon Ball Z is weird too.
Our dog's named after that. I used to watch as a kid, just not like you.
It sounds like you smoke 25 packs a day.
I've never smoked anything in my life. Thank you.
The cough tells a different story. I'm just kidding. It really does. It's terrible to have a cough. Sorry. I feel like I'm bullying you on that too hard.
Yeah.
I apologize.
I can't help it.
I know. I'm just messing with you.
But no, I've never watched WWE in my life. I don't know if I've watched 10 minutes of WWE. So, couldn't tell you. But I sent that to you because I thought you'd be excited. Can you talk about his son, though?
Jacob Henry. His son is walking onto the football team. Yeah. Sorry about that, Jacob. I know you're probably watching. I apologize.
He's definitely one of the 81.
Yeah. And you know, it's fine. It's not bothering you. My mom says it's good.
Thanks, Kim.
I'm just messing with her. I'm going probably too far there, I'll be honest. Yeah, his son's walking on. I got to think he's got to be just the raw talent. Being a wrestler, as strong as he is, he looks like a beast.
Right.
I mean, he looks like he's going to be a great athlete.
Do we know what position he's...
Defensive line, played at Lake Travis High School.
Okay, but like, is that what he's going for
yeah,
you?
Yeah, okay. He's going to walk on for that.
How big is he? Did you look that up?
No, I didn't, but I'm sure he's a big guy. I'll tell you what, we can find out in like 2 seconds.
I mean, here's my thing. I bet his footwork's insane. Being a wrestler.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Footwork and get that like lower body, like, you know what I'm trying to say.
Hmm?
I don't want to say footwork again, but...
Let's see. I want to know how big the guy is, but
okay. So he committed to Oklahoma wrestling. So
yeah, he was on the wrestling team.
Because wrestling just wasn't painful enough.
No joke. I can't get a size on this guy.
I saw The Rock in there. That's kind of funny.
Look how big his dad is. Look at that. Talk about a guy that's just built different than me. Well, this is great radio, by the way. Just talking about what we're seeing right now.
That is a large man.
25 program. There's only one Oklahoma. Does it say on his Twitter page how big he is? I don't think it does. Sometimes they list it on here. No. All right, I'm not sure how big he is.
Tackle.
If anyone finds out, let us know. But he's got to be a pretty massive guy, and obviously athletic family. It's going to be I think a really big deal that we get him, or that we're getting him to. Okay.
There you go.
How big? How size?
It said in high school, senior season, 285-pound state runner-up. So 285. That's what he wrestled at.
Oh yeah, they'll get.
So we're talking 300.
Yeah, they'll get him beef. Yeah.
I'm assuming he cut.
There's the beef.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Also, wrestling is crazy. How they're able to cut their weight is bonkers to me. I remember I met this guy and he wrestled at 120 or so. And at that time when I was in college, I was about 120. I was about 115-ish probably. But I remember thinking how in the heck? Because he was clearly he wasn't much taller than me, but more muscular. I'm how in the heck is this dude 120 pounds? But then I learned about from you really the cutting process, and then it made sense. But insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do it.
Cutting weight is a wild one. There's some news breaking with Oklahoma revenue. So let's talk about that a little bit, because I think that's a pretty interesting facet to Oklahoma athletics right now, and just the university in general. We can see here on, if I share this, on the screen here. Let me go to share screen. Let me just make sure.
I forgot Stacy told me she wasn't going to be able to be in the live chat recently. Knew something was missing.
Where's the share button? There it is. Okay, y'all should be able to see this. Here you see a Stoya post, Sooner Scoop, by the way. Can
you pull that up first? Because it's a little hard to see online.
Yeah. OU Athletics makes $2.6 million in 2024, most since 2018. And I think the actual total number was around $208 million. And then, so obviously, only 206 spent.
Purposes, this is profit, not revenue.
Yeah, exactly. People, for some reason, people don't understand the difference between profit and revenue, and it irks me. And, most people, I'm sure. But so I just tweeted out that, this is not including, and I think this is something that a lot of people forget that we are still, that we had to deal with this year. The buyout from leaving the SEC or the Big 12 early was, we only got about $27 million of the $52 million we were going to get by being in the SEC. So it'll be $15 million.
Big cut.
Big cut, yeah. Big cut. Now, granted, that was also Texas that only got $27 million, so they'll get an extra 35. So, that's going to be, hate that they're going to get more money, but it is what it is. And if you're Oklahoma, you get a chance to kind of just get a little extra income there, and that really to me is interesting because there are certain. Where's the stop there? There's certain I think views on what Oklahoma should do, not only with football, but it kind of percolates throughout the athletics right now with what we see with men's basketball, and wanting to fire coaches, wanting to get new staff in. Oklahoma is not in a position where you want to spend money that isn't necessary or that isn't vital and isn't going to lead to a lot of revenue, I think, in the future, or most assured, as assuredly so as it can. And the Porter Moser stuff is interesting because I don't think there's really much of a chance he's fired at all because his buyout's so much. Eric Bailey got the information that it would be about $7.5 million,
something like that, yeah,
for his buyout. Oklahoma's not going to pay $7.5 million to buy out Porter Moser. Add in probably another $500,000 on buying his staff, his assistant coaches out, because they'll want to leave, I'm sure, too, or the new coach will want to bring in who they have. To me, that's just not a realistic expectation to have for them. So that is, if Oklahoma, maybe if they got that $27 million extra or that full amount, maybe you could say that that's something they'd be interested in doing. I still don't think they are.
Sorry, again.
I just don't think. For me, basketball is not going to be a sport where I'm going to be worried. I'm going to be killing them to be spending X amount of dollars every year for. But I'm more of a football fan. I'm more of a. I'd rather see the football team do well and get all the extra funds, right? Like I was never big on the new stadium. I don't want OU giving $25 million and $100 million over 25 years to the arena. Yeah, I'm like. I've never been a believer that just because you build it, they'll come. If you build something that's not a good product, which right now they're struggling to have, people aren't going to show up. You can have a really cool looking restaurant. If your food's terrible, they aren't going to keep going. Okay. Eventually the hype runs out.
Right. And
that's been my issue is, a new coach, say you fire Porter Moser, what are they going to have? They're going to have the same issues. Oklahoma's not a traditional power. They're not a blue blood program in basketball. They don't have a lot of NIL because all the extra money right now, they used up a lot of donor energy for football to get this roster that they're going to have next year. So donor fatigue setting in. It's hard to just tell them, hey, we're going to spend $8 million almost, $8.5 million on buying out Porter Moser and all these people. Come, give us more money. Simply put, we don't have the donors to do that. We don't have the number of donors to do that.
Right.
If you're Texas A&M, sure. Texas A&M has as many people in their engineering school as Oklahoma does on their campus in the entire state, and that includes off campus. We don't have the number of donors. There's a realism here that just isn't reality. So maybe you can have them next year. Now there can be criticism on why are you extending coaches that haven't really proven it yet. As much as I believe in BV, there's a good argument he hadn't yet. Sure, that's a good point. But
we already did it.
We did it. We're here now. You don't just don't exacerbate the issue. Yeah,
we've already done it.
Yeah.
No, for sure. Keep going.
Oh no, I thought I was going too long. I don't know. There's just been.
See, my biggest thing, like you mentioned, I watch basketball more than you do.
Yeah.
So and even then, it's like, yeah, I get upset when they lose, but at the end of the day, as most, I would say 90% of probably any sports fan, but definitely Oklahoma fans care more about football being good. And so any extra money, they want it to go there. And I can understand that. I understand why you'd be upset with the coaching situation, but I don't even think that that's a fix right now. If we keep all the same players, I just don't know. I don't know where the disconnect is. I do have some notes on the coaching, but look what he did at Loyola, which granted, different time, no NIL, takes them to a Final Four. So obviously he's able to take athletes to that level, but I don't want to. Again, I don't either want to take $7 million to buy him out, because then you also have to take money again to get a new coach. So now you're out $10 million.
Yeah,
that could have gone to something else. And you mentioned we're not a blue blood program. I know that some people kind of got on you on Twitter for that.
To be fair to them, I said strong tradition.
We said strong tradition. Clear. We didn't say OU had no tradition in basketball. But when you think of if you told me what are historical basketball schools, you're going to think Kentucky, North Carolina, UCLA,
Kansas.
You're going to think of those schools. You're not necessarily going to think
yeah.
Oklahoma. That's not to say we don't have any tradition.
Yeah.
It's not to say we haven't done anything. But when you think football, you do think Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I kind of feel like right now in the age of NIL, unless you are a Texas and A&M and you have just so many more donors and just expendable money out there, then, it's kind of different. I think you kind of have to choose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you look at Duke, they're probably spending more money basketball-wise than they are football. We could probably look it up. I could be wrong. But I feel like you just have to think about it in that sense. Now, I also think it would be a different situation if our football program was doing good, if they were doing well.
Yeah.
If
True.
OU's football program was thriving, if we made the playoff this year, blah, 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 and we had, extra money to go towards it, then I think they would invest more
True.
in basketball. But I think you kind of have to, right now, OU's choosing between the two, fixing one over the other. And then once if we fix one, then sure, yeah, let's go and fix the other.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't know. I'm not the one making decisions, but I 100% agree in why give extensions when you really haven't proved anything. Unless, I don't know. We're not in those meetings too, but just on that base level, if you haven't won anything, why are there extensions?
Right.
So I understand that. Now, again, we're not in those rooms. You don't know what else is getting thrown at them, but
for me, it's, if I'm trying to figure out the best way to put it so I don't sound just ridiculous whenever I say this stuff, but I just don't, I think the majority of Oklahoma donors, and I'm not saying fans, I'm saying donors, which are an exception to just regular fans, see everything from mostly football to football season as just filler between that time. And they prefer it to be good. They would like our basketball team to be good. But if they're going to donate a lot of money, they're going to donate to football. Mm-hmm. And you remember, like Porter Moser talked about last year after they missed out on the tournament, he mentioned he was looking forward to a higher commitment to NIL. Mm-hmm. Well, that's before you have all of these guys leaving for the portal and having to fight to keep your own players on your team, having to go out and get a John Mateer. Things changed since then. So money that they thought they might have been able to give, it's probably going to cost us $30 million next year to keep a roster that this year costs us $24 million. So you're looking at another $6 million we won't have. Unless that revenue share comes in or the house settlement comes in and you can start getting some caps. But even then, it's just difficult. So, and also I think that if you're a donor and you're looking at that, if you're Castiglione, you're like, look, I could fire him, but who am I going to go get? Mm-hmm. You look at the recruits he has coming in next year; they look like they could be players. Mm-hmm. So, and I'm not going to die on the hill that Porter should be or shouldn't be our coach. That's not a hill I'm going to die on. I disagreed with people wanting to fire BV. One, the buyout's way too much. You're not going to pay him $44 million to leave. Also, he's had 1 year where he's had a fair shake at it and he had 10 wins. Mm-hmm. So I think all the arguments are really on my side that aren't just about reacting to things that, some of that's just out of his control. And I think you can I think you could look at Porter and say, look, he's had 4 years here, or he's in his fourth season. He's 24 and 44, something like that in conference play. Mm-hmm. That's just not good. Yeah. And he's had chances to recruit. He's had chances to build, and it hadn't happened. So that to me is a more fair criticism. And then you look at, I think what exacerbates it is you look at the two guys that left Oklahoma. One goes to Houston, is probably one of their best players. Right. And then the other kid's at Kentucky. Is that right? And he's doing
I'm really
well
bad
too.
about once they leave OU. I'm like, all right, bye.
And right. And it just makes it I think that much worse. It's like salt on the wound kind of stuff where, it's like, man, what happened? Like how come Oklahoma always deals with this, stuff about, Oklahoma's having to deal with like guys leaving us and being successful. Whenever they were here, they struggle. But so I'm just trying to look at the numbers right now. He makes $3.3 million this year, and he'll go up to 3.4, then 3.5 in 2028. His buyout a season ago would have been $10.2 million. So the more the more seasons he gets, the cheaper it is. But Castiglione's reason for a extension, well, they gave him a raise of $100,000, and it's like we wanted to show appreciation and appreciate him providing in leadership. It's like, yeah, but we need to do something. I mean, like,
Right.
what is he? I hate to be like.
I mean, a
he seems like a
coach's
great guy,
jobs
but
are to win at the end of the day. Like leadership, yeah, that's great. We love that, but like, you shouldn't. You should, as a coach, you're automatically a leader. To me, you don't get rewarded for doing the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't applaud a fish for swimming. You
Yeah.
know, so it's like you're not gonna.
Yeah.
Why do you applaud a coach for leadership? Like, that's what they should be
True.
doing. That's like in your resume.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
what you're supposed to do. So like that's what I don't understand. I don't understand the extensions without truly winning the conference, having a winning record.
yeah,
I say having a winning record that for basketball, but like for football, no. I'm saying for winning the conference, like making it to the conference championship. Then you could be rewarded for those, making the NCAA tournament. But for leadership, that doesn't make sense to me. But
and the losses they've had has just been very like just a
they've
nightmare,
been so annoying.
a nightmare. But so
But we'll get there too.
yeah, we'll get there. Yeah,
But again, I think I'm with you on the sense like I really don't care either way, as far as like stay or go, because I don't think the fix is happening probably anytime soon. I do care that I do want them to be good because I'm tired of watching these games and being disappointed in the end and spending however many hours it is watching it and then just to be disappointed in the end. But it's fine. It's life of being a sports fan. You're either happy or disappointed at the end. But as far as like if I just think on like a money level
yeah,
in the age of, it'd be different if we were in the age of NIL. We are in the age of NIL. That money could be better served elsewhere. It could be better served to get you maybe some better basketball players instead
Sure.
of using that buyout. At the very minimum, now for most OU fans, they'd rather see $6-7 million go to football. Period. I hate saying that but it is what it is. That is the cash cow of Oklahoma.
yeah.
And so people would rather see that money go there. Now, granted, we've kind of more or less kind of got that settled out. So now if you have the extra money, maybe put it towards players. But I still don't see how Jeremiah Fears is,
I don't
the
either.
doctor where he is, but
that whatever that
I'm
I don't
not
either.
a
But
recruit.
Moser's 23-43 conference record as OU's head coach.
that's not good.
They
all.
were so I get people wanting to spend more on the basketball team and wanting to get more NIL. I think the problem is that like that discussion has to happen whenever you're funding the football team at the same time.
I was going to say, the people who want that to happen are the people who aren't donating.
Yeah, true.
The people that want that to happen
Well, and
are just fans that want the rich people to do it. But those rich people, like you said, they're more football fans.
Yeah.
Or just they like the university, so they're going to donate to just the university, like we mentioned for the library or, some other type of program. But they're going to donate to football. So it's like they're OU football fans and they prefer OU basketball to be good, but it's not their concern. Right now, if they have extra money, they want it to go towards their preferred sport. And we have so few big money, like hundreds of $1 million donors that's just where we're at.
So yeah, and I have it on good authority that Oklahoma probably has around 10 donors that have north of 100 million net worth. Texas and those teams have over 100. A&M has probably over 100 too. So you're talking about, imagine Oklahoma having to ask the same 10 people all the time for donations, where Texas gets to cycle 100 people before they even have to repeat the list. Mm-hmm. So you're just being hit constantly as an OU fan, and you're like, and it goes to your dad pointed out, how different would it be if the football team was successful? It's like, hey,
I just pointed that out too.
Hey, sorry about that. Hey, how maybe they would donate more to get the basketball team going if we had a successful football team. And we just don't. I mean, soon enough, especially if nothing changes, which it looks like the House settlement has some hiccups, some other issues that they're trying to work out. There's gonna be a time when literally no one will say it on the university side because it's just too insensitive, I guess. It's gonna be either you increase ticket prices, or you just ask people, say, hey, we got to have more donations. Arkansas's coach got crap for doing that. He's 100% in the right. Money runs everything. Oklahoma doesn't have enough big money donors to fund everything.
Right. And we've talked about it before. We're like, anytime you go on to like any of these donation sites, it's like you have to pledge not a high amount, but like an amount that you just don't want to.
Yeah.
Or like if you could let people decide what they wanted, $1,
$2 a month.
$2,
Get 100 people to do that. I mean,
like, I mean, it adds up over time.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned, shoot, on an OU game day, on a football day, like they made fun of OSU essentially, but like put a QR code up there that goes to One Oklahoma and say you can give just a one-time donation.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, after people have been drinking all morning, they might give you 85,000 people giving you $1.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's $85,000.
Yep.
I mean, that can go towards something, but imagine, okay, now they give $5. Now they give $10. Now they give,
Yep.
you know, if everybody in the stadium gave like something like that, like that's something easy that I feel like you could collect, but.
Yeah, well, and here's also what's going to happen too. Eventually, Texas and Oklahoma will play home and homes. You won't play in Dallas anymore.
We mentioned that. Yeah.
Yep. They won't play in Dallas anymore. There's no point in it. It's a terrible stadium. They were supposed to already have the remodel halfway done. They haven't even started. And not only that, but you can have the home team get concessions and more of the ticket sales, and it's big, and they're bigger stadiums. And I get people like tradition, but NIL's taught us tradition doesn't mean much. It's about how much money you have, and eventually, when it comes down to the bottom line. It's a cool sight on TV. My dad's coaching the game. He talks about how cool it is all the time. Sorry. At the end of the day, money's more important than the cool factor and tradition.
Which
I don't think it. I hate that. It's not what I want. It's just what everyone's said matters. We have to pay the players. So that's what's going to happen. So, again, there's going to be a lot of just stuff happen that everyone's going to throw a fit about. End of the day, it's about money in, money out. In the comments, it said, time to defund sports that carry. They are. They will eventually.
Here's the thing. They are, yes, but like time to defund sports that carry dead weight. Softball's gone.
Yeah, they're all. I mean,
Gymnastics is gone.
Well, and also
Baseball's gone.
men's basketball's gone if they didn't have March Madness. And I don't know. There's a Twitter account I like, the Porter Moser guy. His name's Porter Moser Stan, and I would like to ask him. I don't know, but I feel like, there are. I don't know how much you get if you don't make the tournament of the actual share of March Madness, because the only reason we're in revenue is because you get a portion of the billion that you get that the teams get from March Madness. I don't know if it goes to conferences and the conference then divvies it up, or if it goes you get a share, and then that share might increase the further in the tournament you get. I need to look at that, but there's a lot of stuff that just affects what is and isn't being spent and how the money is going. So, at the end of the day, football runs everything. Football is the only sport that generates money for everybody, actually. I mean, it just does. So whatever football wants, they're going to get. As they should. They make all the money. Sorry. What is it called? The Rainmaker? There are law firms where rainmakers are not good attorneys, but they have all the clients. Guess who gets to make all the decisions? That person. Like there are, one of them was a horrible case, and now the Murdaugh cases, but, it's just what happens. I mean, like, so, anyways, I'm getting on a soapbox, I guess. But stuff just.
And again, that's not, again, I played women's basketball. I don't want to see women's basketball programs going away.
True.
But Patty mentioned part of the reason why she went on her tour through California instead of the Mary Nutter was to bring some income into those programs, because people are losing softball programs already for funding.
Didn't one of them want to have the game for free, and Patty said no? That's crazy.
Yeah, Loyola Marymount. Loyola something. One of the Loyolas said, like, we won't charge, and we won't charge till we make sure we have a crowd. She's like, well, I'm not coming if you don't charge. Like, that's the whole reason I'm coming.
Yeah, to help you get money.
Because they really still thought that nobody was going to come. So they thought they, just open the gates and then they'll have a crowd. And Patty's like, no, people are going to come watch OU. Like, OU fans will fly out to your college. Yeah. Like, it's going to happen. And of course, they were full. They brought in temporary stands, packed house, tickets sold out in 10 minutes. I love it. And here's the thing. That's happening in softball, but they're still not a revenue-producing sport. Nope. And so you're saying cut the dead weight. Something we love's gone. Yep. And I hate, that's one thing I hate as a female athlete, ex-female athlete. Because I'm not, I'm not an athlete anymore. But is seeing female sports go.
How is Title IX going to affect everything? Well, that's a good question from a very brilliant coach, by the way. That's my father. Hello. The Trump administration had new guidance come out. Again, guidance doesn't mean anything. Like when you see that an agency issued guidance, agencies can't issue anything that has any binding effect unless they go through certain processes. There's just certain processes they have to go through Congress. So if they issue guidance, that's just them saying they think it should go this. They think it should go this way. If it's not issued through like an actual, I think it's the rules. No, Rules of Enabling Act is different. I think it's through. Oh my gosh! My brain's.
I have no idea. You've been the one that's read on it.
Oh gosh, it's bothering me what the actual policy is called. Anyways, it has to go through Congress, has to get approved, go through committee, and then you can have an agency formed, and then they can actually make rules that are binding on people, like the EPA has and things of that sort. But if they just issue guidance, that has no real effect on anybody, other than it might be influential, or might just affect maybe how a judge sees it, if that's what the policy reason is behind it. But other than that, I don't. So the Biden administration had gave guidance before he was out of office for Title IX to have to be, which was a ridiculous idea on its face. Like, politics aside, I'm not getting that, but just there is no way any school is going to say that football should have to split money with, like, women's basketball or something. The amount of they shouldn't have to split money with men's basketball. I mean, like, football creates you should be divvied up based on a pro rata share of the amount of revenue you drive in. And then obviously to an extent, like, you can't give all of it to football, and so the Trump administration came out and gave new guidance, again, not binding on anybody, but would just say that, revenue generated through NIL does not have to be subject to Title IX restrictions. Title IX restrictions basically meaning, among many other things, but in simple terms, just that even distribution between male and female sports, that all, same opportunity basically, and a window of opportunity for certain acts. But I would think, eventually when it's through the courts, I think that they're going to rule that you have to provide the same opportunity for NIL opportunities for men and women, obviously, and then based on that, as long as the opportunities are the same, the money doesn't have to be the same. So if it's not, it's not. That's just what the market says the money is, which it won't be. But that's the only way you could ever. That's the only, like, reasonable outcome, I think, that actually could be sustainable.
Right.
Because there's just no way that you're going to give, football X amount of dollars. If they bring in 200 million a year, you give them 100 of it, and then 100 million to everyone else. I mean, it just seems like it wouldn't be. I don't know. I just think that's ripe to cause a lot of issues.
Right, and I agree to an extent. Like, I just, from the nature of the beast, like, football has to fund other things. So no, I don't think they should get every single dollar.
Right.
Because
yeah.
I like other sports, and
Sure,
I like my female sports, and my female sports don't make money, and I hate saying that. Now, I do agree that the starting quarterback shouldn't. I mean, the girls, our starting pitcher for softball, as much as I love softball, should not get paid the same as starting quarterback, because starting quarterback is technically bringing in more money.
Yeah.
So, like, I do agree to that extent. Now, that doesn't mean I don't think, obviously, the starting pitcher shouldn't get NIL and shouldn't, be in commercials or whatever it is, and be able to use her NIL. I just don't think it should have to, like you mentioned, have to be like, oh, well, then all the female athletes have to make the same.
True.
Just because, just how it is. Like, But I think the benefit of being at OU is, if you are a softball player, you are pretty big, so that's good.
Well, and I think that's the big selling point for the softball team and all that.
Right.
I think that would be probably.
I don't know. It's a mess that I'm tired. I feel like every time I turn on our show, it's something new with NIL and something new with the new law or something, and it's exhausting.
Oh, but so a lot of people. I had someone message me and ask, why did we choose to leave the SEC, leave for the SEC, and why did we do all of this stuff, and blah, why? What was the point of it? Ross Dellinger, reporter. Talks about the college football playoff a lot, talks about the setting up of it. Basically came out and said, look, the SEC and the Big Ten were in serious talks to kind of go their own way. And because of that, they had they basically it's going to probably expand to 16 teams. I don't think it'll even stop there. Eventually it'll keep expanding. And when it does, the SEC and the Big Ten, according to what he saw, are going to have basically they're going to get to decide what the makeup is of that playoff. So they get to decide, like, there'll be a guaranteed 4 spots for the SEC and guaranteed 4 for the Big Ten. No other school will get guaranteed 4. But it's because they were mad because, again, like, people laughed at Lane Kiffin, but I think, like, if you just take, Lane Kiffin has this ability to say things that sometimes seem ridiculous until you think about them for a couple seconds, and then you're like, he's got a point.
He just kind of comes off goofy.
He does. But he said, like, why would we risk playing in this game if we lose it? And everyone was like, oh, for the competitiveness. Guys, I get that used to be the thing. But when you are playing teams like, Oklahoma had this year, we're going to have the hardest schedule in the country next year. And you're risking losing another game in the conference title game, which I know people say that the committee doesn't hold against you. They do. They see another L, another number in your another loss. So say you were 9-3, now you're 9-4. That looks a lot different. Say you were 9-2, now you're 9-3. It looks a lot different. 10-3. But and he was like, well, why would you play if it's just risking you losing again? And people were like, oh, you're not. But he's like, no, I mean, I'm just realistic. Like I don't want the loss if it risks us losing.
Yeah, I don't want the loss in a conference game if it risks us not getting to play for a national title.
Exactly. So and so what they were mad, they basically were like, look, we don't want to keep playing in this playoff if it's going to be, we get so penalized for having the depth of talent, especially in the SEC that they have. And they also are going to get to play a lot more of just cross game. Like Ohio State's going to play a lot more SEC games later on. Penn State as well. They're going to be able to play more SEC games, and you won't have to worry so much about why schedule good teams in the off season or out of conference. I mean, not off season, but
makes sense.
So that's basically the big reason. Is just they're the two conferences that run college football. So that's why you join, and I think they're going to get up to $70 million whenever they renew. 2026 is when it's going to happen because that's when the contract with the College Football Playoff, by the way, which is an LLC. It's an actual company, the College Football Playoff. It's not like college football's playoff. It's the company is literally the college football playoff. So that's kind of neat. Yeah. Huh. So that's whenever the contract with the college football playoff renews with ESPN. That's probably when the new expansion will come as well. So it'll be a interesting time, especially whenever you're looking at automatic bids and how that's going to work out as well. So I just think they got tired. I think what I think they'll end up doing is the conference champion will just be
people made fun of him too, but I see the point where he was making too, and with his team, being 3 losses, and he was like, "Yeah, we could have beat these teams." Like when he was actively trolling online, I was like, "Yeah." Like I see what he means, and same. I mean, I thought the same for a couple other teams, but yeah, it's just the ever-changing landscape that is just going to continue to get worse before it gets better.
Yep, there was some house settlement news. It's not official, so I'm not going to waste time on explaining it. But there was some news on how they're going to do the revenue share, how they're going to come up with the cap, what that cap's going to be, and other things of that sort. But until that's actually final, I'm not really going to stress about going through the details and all that. So I think next, what do we have? Is it just we talked about this? How about that? I didn't even put that up for the 16-team playoff. I forgot I had that. Let's talk about actually, need to run this thing too. Let's talk about basketball and softball. I know we kind of talked about the coaches and gymnastics. By the way, gymnastics meet Friday. Share the link T sent out if you can.
If you can.
That sounded like an order.
Comments help actually feel like more than sharing.
Oh, okay.
Honestly. But I posted a link on my X. We'll talk about gymnastics while we're here. They are competing at home this Friday against Florida. It'll be a top 4 matchup, top 3, 4, whatever. It's going to be a really good matchup. They're really wanting to pack the stadium for these ladies, make it loud, make it proud, and then they're striping it. So we all know what the stripe means. Even means crimson, odd means white, and these ladies really deserve a crowd. I mean, LSU had a crowd that was insane. I've seen Florida and Alabama's crowds for gymnastics. They're crazy and wild, and we've gotten crowds.
True.
But we can do better. I truly think that if you guys just go, you would enjoy it. So with the link that I shared, it has discount tickets. It was given to me by the university. It's not it's not a scam. I didn't make it up. It was given to me by someone at the university just to try to get the word out for gymnastics. Tickets are as cheap as $5, as expensive as $10. So if you want a reserved seat, like you want to know where you're going to be sitting, $10. If you want general admission, $5. So please go out there and support them. Take your daughters, take your sons, take your grandmas, take your moms, take everybody, because it really is a good time. My entire family, my entire family, my dad didn't go, but my mom, my brother, my husband, my mother-in-law, my father-in-law all went to the meet against Kentucky, and we all had a blast. It was a really, really, really good time. And they're incredible, and it's so fun to watch. So please find those links, comment on it, share it. If you're going, let us know you're going. But yeah, so they'll return against Florida. They had a meet on last Friday on Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, they did fall short to LSU, who was number 2 in the nation. It just wasn't a good meet for them. My whole family, we were all watching it. We're all in front of the TV watching it, and we're cheering basically just as loud as we would for any sporting event.
Yep.
And the bars really set the tone. We started on the bars, and that's probably our best event right now, honestly, our most consistent. We didn't really stick anything.
Nope.
And that's when I was like, uh-oh. This is probably not going to be our night. Mm-hmm. But you never know. you never know how the other team's going to do, but it just throughout the entire night we weren't sticking things we normally would stick. Not that we had any falls or steps out of bounds or anything crazy, but we just weren't as sharp as we normally are. KJ
Right.
said it herself. We just have to stick. Like, we just have to hit, and we're not doing that right now. And even with us not performing that well, it came down to the last event.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will say throughout the entire event, LSU was sticking everything.
Yeah, they
They
did really
were
well.
on fire. It was, truly impressive. It was an amazing night for them. They had an amazing crowd, which is what I kept, noticing throughout it. But it just wasn't our night. We fell short. They're number 2 team in the nation. They are the defending national champions, so they had a lot to prove. And like where I want OU to have that same type of crowd, Lily Peterson was on the beam. We all know the beam. She's doing a back handspring. I don't know if it's a layout step out. I'm not exactly sure what it was. She's doing some flip, for lack of better terms for our listeners, on the beam. And the crowd is erupting in the middle of her flip because they're cheering for the score that their gymnast got. Do you know how distracting that would be to be as the opposing team? Like that, you want to talk about home field, home court, home gym advantage. Like that's a good thing. We want that. We want that. And that was happening time and time again where OU would be in the middle of a routine and the crowd's erupting because they're cheering on the score that the other team just got. And
it should be against the rules everywhere but OU. I think that's reasonable.
But they really, really do deserve that crowd. And it's later in the evening. You can make it after work. You can go eat dinner before. You can eat dinner there. Who cares? $5 to $10. Take your whole family there for $20.
Some would say you could go to Tar Mars before and, get a couple margs. Well, don't drive. And then go.
Okay.
Be rowdy.
But yes, they did fall short to LSU. I will say that I got in trouble.
By who?
Because I got in trouble. LSU fans were arguing with me because I had mentioned that this girl had averaged all year a 9.775 on the floor. We all said before she went on, we're like, dude, the way that they're hitting tonight, she's probably going to hit a 9.9. She hits a 9.95, which, like, to her, like, credit, like, that's great. I put that stat on, like, she normally hits this. She got this, like, LOL, okay. I meant it as, like, they're just hitting on all cylinders tonight. Like, there's just nothing you would do about it. You just laugh. You just got to laugh and move on, And that's where I was. And they were like, well, what were her deductions? I said, I didn't say there were any. I've said to many people all night that LSU was on fire. Mm-hmm. And it happened time and time again. Are you going to cry? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, no. Like,
yeah.
And then someone made the excuse along the line, well, she's been the leadoff all year, so that's why her scores were low. I'm like, okay, but 0.2 in gymnastics is huge.
Guys, she's legit arguing with people on this. And I'm
like, being a leadoff does not drop you that much. And the reason I say, and maybe it does for some people, but again, I'm still relatively new to some of this, but all of our leadoffs have been one of our highest scores all year. Because I considered it in the sense of like track, baseball, softball. Where like your starter, your leadoff, and then it goes your leadoff for gymnastics, are like one of your better ones. They're going to get you the higher score to start you off on a good foot. Then you have like that middle relief who are solid for you, but they're not going to give you like the best. Usually they can, but usually they're solid. And then you have like your closers.
Yeah.
And that's how I considered it because that's how OU gym has always been the way when I've watched them.
It's the same in golf. Your 1 through 5 bag. Your 5 tees off first, and your best player tees off last. So I get that.
Right. Okay. So that's how I was like taking it, and I was like, but even if that were the case that she was scored lower because she's leadoff, 0.2. That's a huge jump in gymnastics. So that's just not because you're leadoff. I mean, she hit. It was it was a very weird thing. Like I'm sitting here arguing. I'm like, that's not what I was meaning. Like, but okay. And then, of course, they try to say that I was accusing of inflated scores. I'm like, I didn't say that. I've said to OU fans because they're like how it was we're doing. Now, I will say there were some of the scores I didn't understand from OU's perspective. Jordan Bowers' beam got it 9.85. Don't know how. She had a little bit of a on her landing, and they gave her a 9.85, yet I saw a girl go out of bounds on floor and get a 9.8. I don't know. Again, I'm not perfect with the scoring yet, but that's not why we lost. We lost at the end of the day because we weren't as sharp as we normally are.
Yeah,
but hey, sometimes you need a kick in the butt. They won everything last year. Every single meet during the year. Get to the semis and Volt tears us apart. Something happens. Something like, what's the end of the world?
Catastrophic?
Something catastrophic, but that's not what I was. Armageddon. Armageddon happened on the vault in the semi. So it's like, if this is what they need to, get sharper, have a little bit of pep in their step, not that I think that they're not competitors, but just as something to light up extra fire under them, then fine, so be it. Lots of season left for them, and I believe in them. They're incredible. And I can't wait to watch Friday, and I hope you all join too. Again, check out that link.
$5 to $10, just go.
$5 to $10, just go. If you even don't go through my link, go to the Sooner League. It's like $8 to $15, so it's not that big of a difference. But anyways, yeah, go support Gym. Fantastic.
And just last point on that, from my perspective, I still OU didn't do. All I can really tell is landing, because they all looked really good to me, because I don't know anything about gymnastics. Although it is interesting, I'm learning more. I just think OU struggled landing. Like they just, they bobbled a lot and did a lot of steps. Now, I don't know how you deduct that from how difficult your routine is, and if their deductions were fair. But I don't know anything. I don't know.
I will say that every time it seemed like LSU landed, our whole family went ugh, because they just stuck it.
They did.
And every time we landed, we also went ugh.
Yeah.
So it just wasn't a good night for us. And even with it not being a good night, and for them, and it shows their average score. So this is not me being like a hater. Almost all of them scored above their average score almost every single event. That's how on fire they were. So
they were.
I
think it's a good way to put it. They were on fire.
Do as well as we normally do. Yeah. For them to do fantastic, and it come down to the last event. We lost pretty handily in the end, but I say that it still. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's a good competition, and that they're probably going to meet later, and we'll see how it goes. Florida, LSU, OU. It's gonna be fantastic. Good gymnastics. But shall we move on to basketball?
Yeah.
I'll start with women's basketball first because there's some wins there. Women's basketball played Auburn and Missouri this weekend. I didn't get to watch the Auburn game so much. I don't remember why. I think I was watching maybe softball, but I didn't get to watch it as much if I was doing something. But I was listening here and there. And I think they pretty much controlled most of the game from what I was following. I will say, I'm being picky again. They did have 20 turnovers, which led to 26 points for Auburn.
That's not being
which
picky.
I still believe it was about a third of their points. So, once again, they're giving a third of the points to Auburn, but they're able to fight through, and they're able to pull out the win there, which is fantastic. It's always good to win. I did get to watch the Missouri game, and their second half especially played really hard. And I've mentioned it before, I like watching the girls' team because even when they're low, even when they're down, I believe they have enough fight in them to come back and make it a game.
Right.
With the exception of South Carolina, where it was just all bad.
Mm-hmm.
All the other games, even if they've been down, I'm like, okay, they can fight back. They're going to continue to fight. They're going to claw their way back. I'm going to see that energy. And I mentioned I don't necessarily see that with the men, with the exception of one player. But so they were down at half, not by a lot, maybe 4 points.
Right. And
they were able to basically go on a run and not make it a game. Had a fantastic second half. They had 5 scores in double digits. Sahara Williams, Peyton Verhulst, Lexi Keys, Skylar Van, and Zaya Van were all in double digits.
Boom.
Which is just great. That means you're sharing the ball, you're getting assists, proving that more than one player, can put the ball in the hoop. You have to respect the team a little bit more. We out-rebounded them,
True.
Which also comes down to, hustle and just technique. You have to block out. We did only have 15 turnovers.
Good.
So I'm still not thrilled about it, but it's less than 20. Less than 28, less than 25, less than 20. So, it's in the teens.
Yeah.
And it didn't cost us the game. They ended up winning by 20. They did really, really well. It was really fun to watch. Reagan Beers was back that game. Not exactly sure what's been going on with her. They probably have said it in an announcement, and I wasn't listening. But good to see her back. Didn't have she wasn't in our leading scores, but that's okay. Got to ease her way back into it. Get back in shapes. But I do like it. There was a really fantastic hustle play that Peyton Verhulst chased the ball out of bounds. It was tipped, and then swooped it behind her back, and then they pass it forward, and then they pass it forward for a layup. It was just beautiful little ball movement and hustle, and I loved it. And they're a very hardworking team. I love Jenny as a coach. My biggest issue all year with women has just been the turnovers because they've been just putting themselves out of games. So this week they didn't put themselves out of it. They still turned it over more than I would like to see,
and they won.
But they won.
Yeah.
They won. They fought and they clawed and they did well. Got 2 wins out of it. Continue to be ranked nationally. Support the women's sports. Go watch them.
Yeah.
Let's go on to the men's basketball. I don't even know if I have many notes here.
Oh, joyous day.
Yeah, I don't even know if not really. Okay, so the men, when they played Missouri, I think I tweeted it during the game. I said, I always just feel like we're down by 10.
Yeah.
At least 10. Like, I feel like the game's going on. Next thing you know, we're down by 10 and we stay down by 10 or more. And we were down by 20 going into half. 20. And it's like, at that point, I'm like, they're not going to claw their way back. They're not going to fight their way back. Like, I don't see it. I don't see that from them. And what really, really bothers me, it's not just me. It wasn't me just being a petty fan.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't me being, like, petty's just the best way I can do it. I just wasn't being a Debbie Downer. I wasn't being overly critical. The announcers on the television said, Oklahoma they just don't look like they care. They don't look like they care to be out there. They don't really look like they want to be there. When I tell you, like, you probably could have seen steam coming out of my ears, because that is such just a pet peeve of mine. I don't care that you're losing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if you're getting dog walked. Your attitude and your effort better be there.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the announcers themselves are saying, like, we don't see it.
True.
Like, they're just rolling over. I hate that. You never roll over. You never give up. And it just seems like we have a lot of quit in us. And I hate it. It's so bad watching that. And I just don't see that fight in them. I want to see more fight in them. I want them to prove me wrong. And also that game, they went 7 for 31 from the field. 7 for 31. I jokingly, and I'm petty, so I still might do it. But I know at one game, I think it was Tennessee, they were 4 for 18 from the 3, and I was like, I bet I can close my eyes and make 4 in my washed up state.
Yeah.
I've almost gone to a gym just to do it, but I haven't yet. But I'm petty enough. I might at some point. But it's just like, I don't, as a team, and that's where I'm saying, like, we have somebody on our team apparently going to be top 10 in NBA draft. We're going 7 for 31. I don't get it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not saying that we don't have people that are talented on our team. It's just, I don't get that. That's a different level to me, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, clearly, I mean, obviously, literally it is. But you get what I'm saying.
No, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Not saying you can't get there. I'm just, like, wondering if it's early, but I don't care at this point. LSU. We were up by 13 at one point, and we can't build on a lead. You have 13 points. Like, we play anybody else, they get up by 10, they just build on it, and probably because we got quit in us. But we're up by 13, and we lose it. Makes it worse is we were up by 5 with less than 30 seconds left. I think people said on Twitter it was 22 seconds. You're up by 5, and we don't close out the game. And here's where I get angry, because people, of course, had commented back to me like, oh, that's your coach had you unprepared. Your coach had you unprepared. You're playing D1 basketball.
Yeah.
And you're about to play defense. You shouldn't need your coach to walk you hand in hand, sit you down in your face and say, okay, if they go to shoot a 3, don't leave the ground. Don't foul them. That's common freaking sense. What's the first thing he does? Flies through the air like he's going to block it. It's rarely ever are 3-pointers blocked. That guy's already flopping when he shoots it. So that's a little annoying, but you still don't leave your feet. You shouldn't have to be told that as a Division I basketball player. Now, I have heard, Chad has heard, that apparently coach did tell them,
yeah,
don't foul, like, don't leave your feet. And they did it anyway. But, like, you shouldn't need it.
No.
So that's frustrating. So then, like, they get the 4-point play. So now you're up by 1 with 10 seconds left, whatever it was at that point. So, and again, where I think we just have quit in us, or we just don't have a fire under our butt. The referee has already given the ball to Dayton Forsythe to throw it in. You only get 5 seconds to throw it in. Our starting point guard is just walking with his back turned to his little spot, not even knowing that the ball is ready to be checked in. 2-3 seconds has already gone by. So then Jalen Moore comes up, catches the ball, panics. Why he panics getting trapped, I don't know. Split the trap, get fouled. Just don't throw a terrible pass. Like, I don't know. The other things you could have done. Shoot, at that point, take a 10-second. Take the 10-second call and then play good defense for, and hope for the best. But, like, you just can't turn it over. Turns it over because he throws a bad pass. Then they play just, like, Red Sea parting open to let this guy get to the rim. Barely foul them. If you're going to foul in that situation,
Foul him, yeah.
foul them. Make sure they can't make it. Nope, it's an and one, and then now you're down by 2 with 8 seconds. I think it was like 7-8 seconds left. And this is where I can get behind the coaching thing. Because I looked over at my parents and I said, I doubt there's going to be a play here. It's going to be give the ball to Jeremiah Fears. He's going to try to go coast to coast, make something happen. But everybody in the court's going to know that. So it's probably not going to work. Sure enough, that's what happens. Now, could there have been a play that was going to be set up, was busted, or could there have been something else going on? Maybe. Could it have been, maybe that's first option. If it's not there, let's get to option 2. There wasn't going to be an option 2. You just knew it. So that's how the game ended. He goes coast to coast. Everybody in the dog knows. He has like 2 people, basically falls over.
Right.
Not a good shot at the end. Frustrating. So I do have an issue with that there wasn't, I guess, some type of organization. 8 seconds is a lot of time in basketball, even if you have to go the length of the court to get something. But
what's frustrating for me, 2 things. One, it's like Porter Moser, like they still had a chance to make the playoff or to make the tournament because all their losses were against really good teams until LSU, and it seems like now that sort of cover because like OU made the March Madness with Trae Young when they were like 19-17 on the year. So who you lose to does matter in March Madness, and they had lost to really good teams. That's why a lot of the Palm rankings or predictions still had us like 60% to go to the March Madness until then, and this was supposed to be the easy stretch because now you play 5 straight ranked teams, and you lose to LSU in that fashion. Like they played like they played like they were trying not to lose, like they hoped they weren't losing, they wouldn't lose this game. Like don't mess it up, and you just in no sport can you play like that. You have to play aggressive. What you were saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like they should have known, like, do or die here. So when you had that 13-point lead, it should have been pedal to the metal, do whatever you can to could extend this lead, not a play to lose,
right?
Play not to mess up, like,
right?
Because you had to have it. I'm curious to see how they respond, if they respond. Honestly,
calling it now. They're beating number 3 Florida.
That'd be fantastic.
We gotta get some coffee.
This year they haven't.
You okay?
Really shown. It's frustrating.
Yeah.
I do have. And it's funny because I did feel validated. My mom coached me growing up.
Yeah.
Through like middle school essentially, and then she didn't coach me after that. But she
coached me in elementary.
She did.
Yeah.
She knows the game really, really well. So whenever I say something, I think about it. But to hear her say the same things I was like thinking, I'm like, oh, okay, great. Like I trust myself. I have thought basically all season essentially, but before that, Moser substitutes too much too frequently. If somebody like the game that Goodine went like 9 for 11, he was on the bench too much for my liking. I'm sitting there, he's out there until he cannot walk anymore. And if you're a basketball player, you can't play a whole game, you're out of shape. I can't think of a time, except for maybe if I was seriously injured, that I was asking to come off the floor of a basketball game. High school, college, didn't matter. Like I wanted to be out there. So to me, it's a game of runs. It's a game of getting in a flow. Really anything. When you're in a flow, you want to stay in the flow. If your coach is interrupting that to sit you on the bench to give you a rest you might not even need, he's interrupting the flow of the game. So I don't agree with that aspect. I do think he substitutes too much and too frequently. Again, now if the guys are asking for subs, if they're saying they're tired, then I guess they need to start getting better with conditioning. Yeah. But I know that myself, in the competitor I did not want off the court, especially if I was on fire. If I was on fire, do not take me off this court. Like I could have probably like blood gushing down my eye, and I'm like, absolutely not. But yeah. I don't like that. Not that he cares what I think. I mean, I'm not going to say that I know more basketball than him. That's just my one complaint from an outsider, from someone who did play. But if that's his philosophy, so be it. I just don't agree with it. And I know my mom, she was like, I haven't watched a ton of games this year, or like I haven't watched all the games. I've watched them in bits and pieces. She's like, but man, he substitutes too much. Like, how are you going to expect to get your team into the flow, into a rhythm, if you're just constantly like shuffling him in and out? And I'm like, oh, thank goodness. Like, I'm glad you said that, because I was thinking the same. But I really don't like being critical. Right. Especially to people I know that know the game better than me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
cool things.
trust me. No, I know what you mean. Sorry, I was reading something here.
So I
trying
don't
to find
technically
something.
like to be critical because like Porter knows more basketball than me. Like it's just what it is. But I had an opinion and I threw it out there. Anyways, let's talk about softball.
Well, on that last play,
sorry.
I was making sure I had the right team. I was expecting to see something like Villanova when they won the Natty on that last second shot where they pass it off, but he goes in front so the defender can't get into his face. Mm-hmm. The guy has to go underneath the cut. I mean, it's just perfect. At least it's as quality of a shot you'll get at last second. And we just have Jeremiah Fears, who's not that big, and it's a young kid. Go try to just. Now, maybe he wasn't supposed to do that, and he just did it without moving or anything telling him to.
Maybe.
Try to
I don't know.
turn your head so it's not right.
Sorry.
But I don't know. So I have no idea. Let's do softball, and then
softball had a great weekend. Played 4 games down in Waco.
I wish I had.
They didn't just win all 4. Run rules, all 4.
All 4.
And it's great because they run rolled a top 23 team in the nation. Baylor is ranked number 23, and we run rolled them, I believe, 8-0 and 9-1. I didn't keep the scores here, but some highlights of the game is. I see some of the highlights of the game. Some highlights of the season right now have been Ella Parker.
Yep.
Ella Parker is just, man, she has come out on freaking fire. She is batting 688.688, which is crazy. So good. She's not even just connecting and getting hit. She's getting like extra base hits. So she's getting doubles. She's getting home runs. Phenomenal. And it seems to be like a pattern where Abby Dayton, she is our leadoff. She gets on base any way that she knows how. She gets, I think it said at one point she's gotten like 7 hits, 4 walks, and like 5 hit by pitch.
Wow.
But like she essentially has almost gotten on base every time because she just ball magnet, or she's a lot like, she's a lot like Jada Coleman in that sense. Like she's very smart at the plate, and she's going to try to get on any means necessary, which is why she's leadoff. And it just seems like Ella Parker's like, all right, great, Abby's on, but let me just go ahead and hit her in, to which has been a sure thing. Ella Parker, only a sophomore, did start last year as a freshman. She's off to a really, really hot start, and which has been really, really fun to watch. So just want to give her that. We have a lot of freshmen stepping up and making plays. And so if you haven't learned their names, you're going to. Sydney Barker was a freshman. She had home run, grand slam, and several extra base hits. She had several RBIs over the weekend. Right? I believe just one. She had a home run and then a grand slam. But she continues to earn her minutes for sure. She has played a little bit of shortstop, done pretty well there. But overall, at the plate is where I think she's continued to make her name known and earn her minutes that way, which has been phenomenal. Gabby Garcia is also another freshman that's been making waves, been doing well at the plate. Also great in the field. Tia Malloy had some good hits as well. So we have freshmen that are stepping up. Nellie McEnroe Marina. Nellie MM, number 2. She's a redshirt freshman. So she was at Oklahoma last year. She is our captain. So that she's a redshirt freshman voted a captain just shows the kind of leadership that she's offering out there. They're off to really good start as well. They've been really, really fun to watch. It has been emotional because I'm still getting used to the numbers and the players, but I'm getting better. Audrey Lowry is a freshman pitcher. She's also shown a lot of promise. I've been very, very impressed with her.
True.
But speaking of impressive, Sam Landry had a perfect game. Her perfect game, and I believe in
that's awesome.
The last game of the weekend, she had 15 batters up, 15 batters down, which earned her the SEC Pitcher of the Week.
That's awesome.
So she earned that. That was pretty phenomenal. It was great because it was down to the last inning. We're into the run rule territory, and someone hits. I don't know if they slapped it or if it was just a kind of a doink hit, and it was a little bit out of her circle, but she went to field it and kind of like it was a close play, like scooped it over to first, and it was. They got her out, but it was close, and you see her, she's kind of like, ooh, like kind of laugh, like, oh no, that was close. I almost ruined my perfect game, essentially. Right?
She got it though.
She ended up getting it when she got that final strike. Everybody was just super,
that's your
super
second
happy
one, right?
for her, and I loved it. That's the second one of the season. I think Isabella Smith had the first one. This is one I need my brother here. But there's a second one that OU has had this year already. Perfect game. 2 perfect games already on the season. So that was phenomenal for her. Speaking of Ella Parker, she also got the SEC Player of the Week. Rightfully deserved.
Mm-hmm.
So OU softball, despite the fact that we lost, 10 players and majority of our starters and 2 of our aces, 2 of our ace pitchers, off to a really, really good start. So it's going to be a little crazy when conference play starts because we have lots of good teams in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama. You know the names. You guys know.
Yeah.
So lots of really good teams. But I believe in Patty. Yeah, as you do. This Patty got something.
I've been trying to tell people.
They do play again this weekend. It did get changed due to weather because we all know snow/ice-mageddon is coming for us. They will be, instead of playing Thursday, for Friday, Saturday, they will be playing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I believe. So they will be playing again. And they'll be opening up at Love's Field. So if it's nice enough, let's head down there. Should be fun. The women, I forgot to mention.
What is the weather this weekend? Is it supposed to be nice?
I don't think it's awful. OU women play Thursday night. That'll be the game against Vanderbilt. It's at 6 o'clock. Dang it. I need them to play at a time that I can go. I have yet to see them live.
Sunday 63, Monday 70.
All right, there you go. Nice enough. Head down to Love's Field. So the women play Thursday against Vanderbilt. The men, if you're interested in watching that, they play Tuesday against number 2 Florida. Chad's called an upset, so, fingers crossed. We'll be watching regardless. And then, as I mentioned, the softball will start playing Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then...
Oh, my. Do we have no?
Yes, let me take a breath. And then this Friday, go support women's gymnastics against Florida. Go to my X. My name is right there, at tyranny_Kristen.
Mm-hmm.
Go to that link, buy your $5, $10 ticket, and go support these ladies. It's a lot of fun. So much fun. Even if you don't understand gymnastics, you don't have to.
Nope, you really don't.
You do not have to. You will learn as you go, and it's a really good time. So go ahead and hit them up as well. Anything else?
No, I don't know. I think you hit it all. That was awesome.
Let's see. I've been watching a lot of games. I keep my notes on my phone. Unless it's bad. The men at Missouri literally has this line. It's like 6 words from my anger. But
all right, we're going to get her a cough drop. Everybody, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining in, guys.
17 total, so we had a good show. We'll be here next Monday.
Yeah, go ahead and like the video.
Yes, I'm glad you did that.
Throw a comment in the comments, not in the live chat, if you will. Throw a boomer, throw a you suck, throw a your hair looks dumb. I don't care. Throw a comment out there into the comment section. Subscribe to our channel. And we'll be back next Monday at 7 p.m. Central Time.
Yep. All right, we'll see y'all.
Bye.